Hello, Captains, it's the Doctor, and welcome to another Starship review in Star Trek Online. This video has been a long time coming, but it is finally here. I am talking about my very most favorite, right now, tactically escorty type ship that I have ever flown, doing the absolute most DPS I have ever done in-game, ever, period. Bananas, peanut butter, period, finale. Don't know what any of that means, but I just said it. I don't know why peanut butter and banana came to my mind, but it did. Anyway, let's move on. This is, of course, the Krenim Imperial time ship. I want to call everything a time ship. It's a warship. It is tier 6. Just really quick, you can see right here, the Krenim Imperium Warship tier 6. Dun dun dun. This thing is like freaking sweet, guys. Alright, let's real quick, well, as quickly as we can anyway, go over what this thing is all about so you can know what the stats are. We can read about it. By the way, where do you get this ship, you ask? First thing, hold on, you're a hell lockbox. I'm not just saying words to say words. That's where it's from. Yeah, I'm just looking over at my other screen. It's available as a drop from the Year of Hell lockbox, so that's where you can get it from. Or you can get it from the exchange. As you can see, it's hundreds of millions of energy credits. Actually, it's not that bad. 285 million energy credits, or 300 million after all those. Not too bad, to be honest with you guys. There are a lot more expensive ships out there. Alright, let's see. The Tier 6 Krenim Imperium Warship is a formidable starship with incredible offensive capabilities. While it is slower and less maneuverable than many destroyers and escorts, it makes up for this with a greater weaponry and more durable hull and shielding. This starship features a Lieutenant Tactical / Intel Bridge Officer seat and a Lieutenant Commander Universal / Pilot Bridge Officer seat. That's right, this thing supports both Intel Power Bridge Officer or a Pilot Bridge Officer. So that brings a lot of different functionality and possibilities to this ship. The Krenim Imperium Warship comes equipped with the Timeline Analysis Sensor Grid Universal Console. Narrowing the target of timeline analysis is a risky undertaking as it ignores many external variables out of necessity, thus increasing the chances of counter-indications indications the longer a subject is analyzed. I got no idea what any of that means. Nonetheless, specialized targeting sensors can be outfitted with this technology in an attempt to offer brief tactical advantages against specific targets, by deconstructing their interactions with localized causality. Activating these sensor grids effectively decreases the target foe's ability to withstand your attack and becomes more effective the longer they are analyzed. This universal console also provides a passive buff to your accuracy when using cannon weapons. This console mod can be equipped only on Coalition starships Krenim, Nihydran, and Zal. In any console slots, you may only equip one. After achieving level 5 in your Krenim Imperium Warship, you will unlock the Potentiality Starship trait. When slotted, this trait offers a passive stacking damage bonus for each second you spend in combat without activating Bridge Officer abilities. So who's in combat without using Bridge Officer abilities? Not me. That's rarely going to get used, to be honest. Hull strength: 33,000 at level 40, 37,950 at level 50, and 44,000 at level 60. Keeping in mind this is an escorty type of ship, that's a very good hull strength. This thing is not a glass cannon. Shield modifier of 1.1, a crew of 300, pretty large. Weapons 5 forward, 3 aft, so very powerful. 5 forward weapon slots, ton of weapon power. Device slots 3, 1 Lieutenant Intel Tactical, 1 Commander Tactical, so full Commander Tactical powers there. 1 Ensign Engineering, 1 Lieutenant Commander Science, 1 Lieutenant Commander Universal / Pilot, so you can put anything in there, including a pilot. Pilot powers. Console modification: 5 tactical, so we can max this thing out on tactical consoles and make it just do a ton of DPS. 3 engineering and 3 science. 14 degrees per second. It says it doesn't move very fast. 14 degrees per second is not the best for an escort turn rate. However, from that, it's not the worst, and you can actually buff that and make the turn rate pretty decent on this ship with certain traits. Impulse modifier is 0.18, inertia is 55, plus 10 to weapon power, so more weapon power, plus 5 to engine power, so it's already got more engine power anyway, plus 5 to aux power, the timeline analysis sensor grid, and then the package, the ability package we'll talk about is precise weapon systems, enhanced weapon banks, devastating weaponry, enhanced weapon systems, and potentiality, which I really haven't seen a benefit from because I like to use bridge officer powers, not use them, so that's kind of a thing. But anyway, that tells you all about it. I mean, it sounds good on paper, and let me tell you, it's the bee's knees on in combat. Yes, I said the bee's knees. Get over it. Anyway, what I'm going to do now, bring up my build of the ship. Again, of course, everybody can build ships differently, and that's great and fun. Mine is not the perfect build. I don't claim that it's the perfect build. It works for me. It may not work for you. Blah, blah, blah. Total disclaimer. Don't call me out for using a terrible build because I'm not saying you have to use this build. This is just what I'm using, and it's working. If you're wondering about the DPS I'm getting on this ship, it's about 45k. So I am up there on DPS. No complaints. I could probably push this thing to 50k DPS easily, maybe even more. I'm not using the best weaponry to begin. I don't have things like penetration and that kind of thing on my weapons because I'm kind of old school. All my weapons are from a long time ago when different modifiers used to be better, and now they're not, but they used to be. But of course I don't have the resources now to totally change over all my weapons. I only have, you know, what I had been working on over so much time to get the weapons I have now. So I don't have all the newfangled stuff that is a lot better. So even though I know I can do better, I'm doing 45k with what I have, which is not terrible, guys. Not terrible at all. So if I had better things, then I could do better. But still, this is the highest DPS I've ever had on any ship, on any build, so I'm quite happy with it. But let's go over this real quick. Krenim Imperium Warship Tier 5, you can see I've got all masteries unlocked. We will talk about that when we go into space so we can see the actual stats on everything. We'll go over all the actual stats when we go into space, but let's go over my current build. If you know anything about my characters, this is the War Doctor. He is tactical character, and he is based on phaser technology or phaser energy type, and specifically Andorian phaser energy type. And the reason for that is because a long time ago when it first came out, the Andorian ships were very, very fun to use, and that's the ship that I used for the longest time. Did a lot of damage with that ship, and I of course went the entire Andorian phaser route on it. I invested all of my resources into getting Andorian phaser technology weaponry on that ship, and so I've just had to follow from that to now, and that's the energy type that I use. What I've got are 3 dual heavy cannons, advanced fleet Andorian phaser dual heavy cannons, accuracy ×2, damage ×2. Like I said, old school modifiers that used to be the best back then. They are not now, but of course I've invested all my resources in getting all these things up to, you know, this quality and the level Mark 14 and all that, and to change out all my weapons would be very expensive. So I don't have the resources or ability to do that yet, but still, like I said, 45k DPS with this setup, so it's not terrible. I got nothing to complain about. 3 dual heavy cannons and then a dual beam bank. I used to have 4 dual heavy cannons, but in recent times, dual beam banks have become more effective sometimes than cannons because they're always firing or hitting the enemy, especially, you know, with things like scatter volley, which would miss a lot of the enemy. You don't get that with beams. They're always hitting. You can do beam overload. You can do fire at will, this type of thing. So I removed one of my dual heavy cannon or dual cannons and put a dual beam bank instead. So that is now a different addition to the build, but it works really good, works really well. I am using the Quantum Phase torpedo. This one is a pretty good torpedo. It's from a mission, actually, and I have upgraded it, as you can see, to ultra ultra rare, and it is it gained a crit. I don't know if it gained a crit D or if it already had one, but anyway, it has a crit D on it, so that's very good. And then it's got I've upgraded to Mark 14. Obviously, it's part of a set: phase catalyst, phase torpedo, quantum phase converter. I don't have all the other pieces, just this torpedo, but it's a very good torpedo, and I really do enjoy it. I like it a lot. It's a good torpedo. And then in the aft, I got 3 turrets, 3 advanced fleet Andorian phaser turrets. Again, the past modifiers, just ignore that. But that gives me the most forward weapon power that I can get. I'm always going to be firing forward from this ship. That's my thing on escorts. I don't want to fire from the side or the back or whatever. Always forward, but all my firepower firing forward. So with these turrets, I can do that. It's very awesome. All my consoles, I was able to max out to epic quality Mark 14, so it doesn't get any better than what I got down here. I got a plus 100% power transfer rate with EBS. Excuse me, I got plus 25 kinetic and all energy damage resistance with this one, plus a hull capacity increase just to make sure my escort will not die in battle but stays fit. And this one does. This one can take a lot of damage for an escort. And then I have the Polaric Modulator. This one I really like. Plus 5 inertia, plus 15% flight speed, plus 20% turn rate. Remember, the overview said the ship is a little slow, turns a little slow, but with this here, I've got that plus 20% turn rate, plus 25% flight turn rate, and then a plus 15% flight speed. So it's going to allow me to turn faster and move faster. And it adds 7.5% of your weapon power to your engine power as bonus power. So basically, really good for an escort. Going to help you maneuver and move very, very quickly. And for a ship that can potentially be kind of slow as an escort, really helps it to be faster as an escort. Down here, I've got the Science Temporal Disentanglement Suite. Part of the Krenim Temporal Manipulation, but I don't have the whole set on here because I don't really need it. That deals more with Tetrion energy stuff. And I'm not using Tetrion energy weapons on this ship. But the Temporal Disentanglement Suite itself is beneficial for my escort. It increases my auxiliary power by plus 5. It also increases my shield capacity by plus 25%. So I've got more aux power and I have more shield capacity on this ship. And what's more important to me here, the critical chance and critical severity, which is based on your aux power level. The higher the aux, the higher the critical chance, the higher the critical severity. Very important if you want to do a lot of damage. And it reduces damage to shields by 3%. That's negligible. So very good console. I really enjoy that. That helps me get the highest critical chance and critical severity I can get based on my aux power. And then of course here's the quantum phase converter. I also have one of these. This is part of quantum phase catalyst, which is, oh, I guess I do have all the things. Huh. You know, I said I didn't before. I do. This is the quantum phase torpedo. For some reason it shows here I don't have all the pieces. Then when I go down here it does show I have all the pieces. I guess I do have all the pieces. I didn't realize I did, but I do. Quantum phase catalyst weapon. Ah, yeah, okay. See, I totally missed over that. I have forgotten what I put on the ship. I have 2 advanced fleet Andorian phaser dual heavy cannons, but then one of the dual heavy cannons is actually the quantum phase dual heavy cannon from a mission. So this one's a little different. This one is not an Andorian phaser. It is the quantum phase dual heavy cannon. Dual heavy cannons fire quick, very high damage bursts and very narrow firing arc. Beam weapons, blah, blah, blah. Quantum phase energy weapons have a chance to destabilize the shields of enemy ships, dealing additional shield damage and siphoning the shield energy back to you. So that's what the quantum phase dual heavy cannon does. So that's a very cool ability, and because I have the whole set, we'll go over that in a second. Let's read about the torpedo now, because I do have the whole set on here. Torpedo, see, shields drastically reduce the effectiveness, blah, blah, blah. Quantum phase torpedoes destabilize the quantum state of nearby shield arrays on impact. This quantum destabilization damages the shields of nearby enemy ships. High-yield quantum phase torpedoes further refine the quantum destabilization, both damaging enemies and restoring allied shields within range. Torpedo spread causes the quantum phase torpedo to trigger a single, larger, more powerful shield drain centered on the primary target. So these things, this quantum phase technology stuff, is all about bringing shields down on the enemy, which is good because I'm already doing a lot of damage with my weapons anyway. But if I can bring their shields down, I can get to them even quicker and just totally annihilate them. So here's the third piece of that set then. This is the quantum phase converter. This is plus 25% phaser damage. So on top of all my consoles down here boosting phaser damage, obviously, I've got this thing that gives me an additional plus 25% phaser damage, and I don't even have to sacrifice a tactical console slot for it. I can put it where it is, like in the science console slots. So I am getting the absolute most phaser damage boost I can from consoles here. And this also gives me more auxiliary power, which is going to give me more critical chance and severity based on that other console here. And let's see, it improves energy and shield drains, which is good because I'm using the quantum stuff here, like I just showed you, that's doing shield drain stuff. And it does hot restart, automatically removes auxiliary power disabled conditions after 1 second. So if anything disables my auxiliary power after 1 second, it hot restarts them back into action. So that set is very good, and it is called the Quantum Phase Catalyst set. Now, because I have all three pieces of the set, I also have two bonuses from that. I have what's called phase transfer optimizations, and I have quantum destabilizing beam. So phase transfer optimizations is more accuracy, plus 15% accuracy, and it doubles the potency of the quantum phase weapon shield drain, and it doubles the potency of the quantum phase high yield torpedo shield heal. So these things are like doubled. The potency, it even says potency is doubled. Then I have this third ability, which is an active power it gives me, called a quantum destabilizing beam. Targets foe, blah blah blah. It does phaser damage per second for 10 seconds to foe, and all power subsystem to foe subtracts their power system and gives more power subsystem to me. So that is another ability that is because of this set. Now this set is not part of the Krenim ship. This is totally separate of the Krenim ship. You can put this phase catalyst set on any ship you want. Doesn't have to be a Krenim ship, it can be anything you want, but just note that you will want to use phaser energy type with it because it buffs phaser damage, and everything about it, including the destabilizing beam, is phaser damage. So you want to put the quantum phase catalyst set on a ship that's doing phaser energy type. That's where it's going to match best, but it can be any ship. It doesn't have to be this Krenim ship. I've just put it on the Krenim ship because that's the one where I am using a lot of phaser energy already, and it sounded like a really good fit on this Krenim ship. But now for the Krenim ship's native ability, that's this console here called the Timeline Analysis Sensor Grid. So just having it on the ship gives us an accuracy with cannon weapons. But really what this thing does is it's a targeted debuff over time. Minus 50 to 50 all energy damage resistance rating based on the pulse. Negative 2 to 20% defense based on pulse. 16.7 to 67% flight speed and then a flight turn rate based on pulse. If maintained for 10 seconds, then the timeline analysis applied for 10 additional seconds gives you minus 50 all energy damage resistance rating, minus 20% defense, minus flight speed, minus flight turn rate. And it's part of a set. If you have the temporal shielding matrix, you have the coalition timeline manipulation set, and then you also get a bonus called temporal phasing. I don't have the other piece to that. I'm not sure where you get it. Maybe the Zal or the Nihydron chip or something like that. So I don't have that. That would give me more defense, all energy damage resistance. So that's interesting. But I don't have those. I don't have that. So don't have the whole set, but it is part of a set if you have the other pieces to it. Anyway, I just have the one set here on the Krenim ship. So we'll use it on the Krenim ship, and I'll show you how that works. It's basically like a beam you fire at the ship. Similar to the destabilizing beam. It'll activate and it'll last for a long time, and if you can use it for the full 10 seconds, you gain even more from it. So that is an ability I will show you, when we go into combat. Of course, I've got it maxed out in phaser damage, and I've got 2 crit severities and 3 crit chance down here. And now for my deflector, impulse, warp, and shield set, I am using the full Iconian resistance set. Really, really, really good set for a tactical / escort character. If you want to do the most DPS as a tactical / escort, why did I say carrier? I don't know why I said carrier. As all my words are being jumbled. Let me back up here for just a second. Slow my roll just a bit. For a tactical character flying an escort, the Iconian reputation gear is probably the best for doing damage. There is an ability similar to the ground ability with the Iconian set called Radiant Subatomic Field, but I think it's called something different in space. And it basically gives you a whole lot of all damage. As you can see on the ground set gives plus 33% all damage. And the space set equally gives a large amount in space. So it is a very important ability for doing more DPS, doing more damage as a tactical character flying an escort. It's not the highest shield strength out there by any means, but if you can get it to up to Epic Mark 14 like I have, it's not terrible. And I've got everything maxed to Mark 14 Epic, and it does add modifiers to it when you do that. When you up the rarity, it adds a modifier. I think this one added size CD, I think. Might be wrong about that, but it added something. This one has plus C res, sex speed 2. I think C res is what it had. I'm not quite sure. The warp core has amp W to S, and then this has cap reg, and reg has 2 regs and a cap. So when you upgrade the rarity, you do gain a modifier. So I have these, this Iconian set, the best you can get, and again, this is really the best set for doing damage. Let us take a look visually now at the starship and see what we can do in terms of visuals, and just look at the outside of it. Then I'll go to the bridge, show you that. Then we'll go into space and show you that. And then we'll go into combat and show you that. We want to customize our ship, customize starship. Here is what it looks by default. Come on, default. Where are you, default? That is not what it looks like by default. Why is it not coloring my ship correctly? Well, I don't know if I have a bug or what's going on, but it is not showing the different material types to the ship. Wow. Okay, that must be some kind of bug or something. Well, I can't show you the default color type. It won't let me. It just won't let me change it. That's weird. Oh, maybe it's because... hold on, I know why. Maybe it's because I have the shield visuals turned on. Is that why? No, shield visuals are turned off. So if the shield visuals are turned off and it's not letting me show the colors of the ship, well, I'm sorry guys, I can't show you what the ship looks like normally. I know why. Never mind. I know why. I have put, I guess this is a new thing that this does. Ah, yes, I put a shield visual in. I am using the Terran Task Force Covariant Shield Visual. This is a new thing that came out in Season 11.5. This does not affect the specs or the stats of the ship. All this does is put the visuals of different components on the ship so that it looks different. Yeah, there we go. So that's what it was, the visual of the Terran thing. Because I like the visual of that shield on this ship. Alright, now let's take a look. Yeah, that was totally overwriting it. Wow. So that's something to keep in mind. If you have a visual slotted, a different visual slotted for your ship, you will not be able to change the visuals so much here in the creator. It'll look just whatever you have like in the visual slot. So here's what the ship looks like by default, and I think it's very ugly. That's why I put a different visual on it. I think this thing is kind of ugly. The color of it, it looks like rust. It just looks like rust. It looks like a rusty old ship I wouldn't want to touch, you know, because I'm going to get tetanus or something. I don't like the looks of it, but what it makes up for in performance makes up the looks. The looks are terrible to me. Anyway, all you can do is a type 1 or 2 material. I guess type 1 is better than type 2. It's darker anyway. You can't change any templates. The windows, it has 3 windows types. You can see them up here. They're not that different. I mean, nothing major there. 2 material types. Dark and light, dark and light, dark and light. So not a whole lot there. Of course, you can change the pattern color, and it's got some kind of orangey and rusty colored thing. The pattern, I guess, is what determines how it looks, because look at that. The pattern, okay, there it is without a pattern, so it really is the pattern that defines the ship, not so much the material type. Because the difference between a 1 and 2 material type with no pattern is basically extra shading, so it just makes it darker. So it's the pattern and then the color choice they have by default, this orange and rust color, that determines what the ship actually looks like. As you can see, and they have 3 built-in types here. They've got Krenim A, B, and C. C is default. There's B, there's A. Kind of looks funky, I guess. So it's really this pattern that's going to determine how the ship looks. Again, I mean, I guess you could change the colors. I mean, you could change the colors and do something different. Make it purple instead of whatever. See, this changes that kind of shading there. And this changes that kind of shading there. I mean, and that's basically going to determine how the ship looks. And as you can see, there's nothing style-wise you can do here. Nothing to switch out, no hull, no saucer, no anything to change out. The shape will remain the same. All you can change is the pattern, and then you can make the material type light or dark, pretty much. And then there is a unique Krenim bridge, thankfully. But that's it. That's all you can do to the ship. So, not a whole lot of options. At least you can make it look kind of decent, like that would look kind of alright. Yeah, that's not bad. Not the best, but better than that rust color, I think. So that gives you an idea of what you can do visually to the ship. Now, me personally, I like it with this shield visual. This is the Terran Task Force, so here's the ship right here. As you can see, what it looks like by default. And then I put this shield visual on. And I think that looks so much better. It's more stealthy. Doesn't look like a rust bucket. It just looks better to me, so I've kept that shield visual on. And then I'm also using the Omega Force engine visual for the impulse engine. I think it looks better that way, so I'm going to stick with it. Let's go visit the bridge and see what that's all about. Then we'll go into space and look at all the stats. And then we'll finally take this thing into combat, and I'll show you how BA it actually is. Oh good, server not responding. Don't you love that? Every time my map change, I get a server not responding. Lately, anyway. Craziness. It's probably going to be a full 30 seconds. It usually is. It's so weird. There's 25 seconds. Are we going to make it to 30? Yes, there's a full 30 seconds. All right, we got like 31 seconds of server not responding. Excellent. So here's the bridge. Very unique, very Krenim. We can access duty officers. We can access our small craft. Does this go anywhere? Nope. We can access our account bank. We can access our library files. That's it. And there's nowhere else to go. There's no ready room, which I'm kind of disappointed. I would like a ready room. there's no room for me to go to, and that is in a really tiny view screen. If I had a starship and my screen was that small, I would be calling somebody about that, because that is extremely small. I feel like I'm in a box, and then I feel like the screen is just so small. The screen should be like gigantically huge. Anyway, that's the bridge. Not much to show there. It's very it just is what it is. At least it's a unique bridge, and kudos for that. Really quickly, let me show you what my bridge officer powers are, so you know what I'm going into battle with here. I have Cannon Rapid Fire 3, Scatter Volley 2, Torpedo Spread 2, Tactical Team 1, Attack Pattern Beta, Tactical Team 1. I just realized I am missing Torpedo High Yield. I would like to have, instead of 2 TAC teams, I would like to have a Torpedo High Yield. Let's see, StarTAC 1, can you have Torpedo High Yield? Yes, you can have a Torpedo High Yield. You just need a training manual. I'm going to make this change really quick, guys, because I have not fired these quantum torpedoes yet. This quantum phase torpedo with a high yield yet. I've got spread, but I've never used high yield, and I want to try it. Let us do a tactical space torpedo high yield. Thank you. Very cheap. Let us take you and give you torpedo high yield. Now let us take you and change you to torpedo high yield 1. There we go. Now I have Rapid Fire 3, Scatter Volley 2, Spread 2, Torpedo High Yield 1. And I have Attack Pattern Beta 1. I have TAC Team 1. I've got Emergency Power to Shields 1. I've got Scramble Sensors 2, Science Team 2, Hazard Emitters 2, Reverse Shield Polarity 2, Engineering Team 2, and Weapon Power 1. What I do not have is, as you can see here in this universal slot, I do not have Pilot Bridge Officer seating. So I am not using any intelligence powers. This one supports intelligence, and this one supports pilot seating. I am not using pilot seating. However, it does support it. So just keep that in mind. That's something that I'm not utilizing, but it does support. It supports a Lieutenant Commander Pilot or a Lieutenant Intelligence. Very important, because that gives this ship some flexibility. So that's very cool. I do not have a current bridge officer trained as a pilot yet. I have 2 intel power ability officers, but I do not have a pilot bridge officer yet. I have not ever used pilot powers yet, so I have yet to dive into the whole pilot system and figure out what their bridge officer powers are like. So just note that. It does support pilot and intelli, but I don't have that currently slotted. But that's okay, because it's still powerful without that. Maybe it'd be even more powerful with a pilot bridge officer seating, but right now I'm not complaining with what I got. I will have to take some time and experiment with that stuff myself, because I've never used one. Alright, I need to put my thingy in your thingy. Let's see, this goes... What did I just put in? I put a high yield. There you are. Now I have a high yield torpedo. Hooray. Okay, so here's where I'm sitting. 123 on weapon power, 88 shields, 79 engines, 67 aux. What does that get me, you ask? Well, my stealth detection rating is 2960. My bonus defense is 100%, or near 100%. Bonus defense. Check that out. Incredible. 102%. 104%. It depends on how fast I'm moving. My turn rate, 38.6 degrees a second. So, yeah, it was 14, remember, by default. I've got this thing buffed up to 38.6 degrees per second. Turn rate ain't a problem for me. I got 99 problems, but turn rate ain't one. I can't believe I just did that. Power transfer rate very high at 310%. 52,400 hull. Not the highest hull, of course, but still higher than some escorts, so really not bad. 100% a minute repair rate. My shield strength is not high, 12.6. Not a good shield strength, but I got this thing maxed out. I mean, it's at 8.7 shield capacity on the shield, so I mean that's as best as we're going to get there. The only way I could get more shield capacity would be to add more consoles, but I ain't doing that. I'm not removing what I have because what I have is good. This is also providing me a shield capacity anyway, so it'd be even lower without this one. Let's see, this is adding, I want to find out how much, well, I guess I just got to look down here. I have a bonus accuracy of 48.4%. My crit chance is way high, 17.3. My crit severity is way high, 108.5%. So my things are good here. My resistances are at 33%. 714 shield every 6 seconds. It's pretty good stuff. Let's look at the mastery. Mastery 1 unlocked, plus 5% accuracy. Accuracy, I mean, Mastery 2 unlocked, plus 15% crit severity. Mastery 3 unlocked, plus 2.5 critical chance. 4 is more kinetic damage and more all energy damage. Potentiality. Every 1 second while in combat, gain a stack of potentiality. Plus 3% all damage bonus for 10 seconds per stack of potentiality. Upon activation of any bridge officer ability, prevents gain of potentiality stacks. So I should be gaining potentiality somewhere. Do I even have the trait enabled? I'm gonna be silly if I didn't. What is this? Yeah, I do. Potentiality. Yay. Okay. So I have it enabled. I'm at the edge of the map. That's wonderful. So I should be gaining potentiality stacks when I'm in combat but not using bridge officer abilities, something like that. I guess is how it works. Not really sure, but it's doing a thing anyway. Go over my other traits real quick. Let's see. The auxiliary power that I currently have, 67, is giving me plus 3.4% all damage and accuracy from the offensive Nukara trait. And then plus 13.5 resistance as well, and a little bit of shield capacity and hit points from where my aux power is sitting. That's cool. Just so you'll know the other things I'm running, I've got crit severity here, advanced targeting systems, crit chance here, and enhanced rending shots here. You know what? I need to disable all my starship traits. I don't even have predictive math algorithms. I need to go ahead and disable these because, like I do in every review, I show only the starship trait that is native to it, so that you can see what this ship is like with its native abilities and not other ship abilities that you may not have. Like, I love improved pedal to metal, I love all these other abilities that I have, but you guys would probably not have the same ones because you would need all the other ships I've had in the past to get those starship traits. The one that you would get from the skill system is the predictive algorithms, so I will enable predictive algorithms because everybody can get that from the specialization stuff. And as far as what I'm using in specializations, I'm using pilot as my primary, and it's maxed out. And I'm using intelligence officer as my secondary, and it is not maxed out. So pilot is my primary specialization. So now I only have, you see here, I only have potentiality, which is part of this ship, and then predictive algorithms, which everybody can get anyway without, that's not a ship feature. Even though it's under starship traits, it's a specialization feature. So it's kind of weird. Let me change instances just so all those things go into effect or change out. I'm going to make sure it's all stuck. That way we will only see what potentiality does. So traits, yeah, those are there. Okay, so that's good. I guess it doesn't show up down here until I'm in combat or something. Okay, now let's look at the native ability of the ship to console, and that is, where is that? That's right here. The timeline analysis. So there's all the stats on it, same as we saw on ground, basically. I'll fire it on the enemy, and you will see what it does. Here's the destabilizing beam from the set I'm using. It does a lot of phaser damage, 2,834 phaser damage. I mean, that's as much as any weapon anyway. So that's doing a lot of phaser damage for 10 seconds. So that thing will kill quickly. And I don't even have all my stuff buffed up right now. Here's what I was talking about with the Iconian set here. This is plus 33% all damage for 30 seconds. So that's really going to help us do a lot of damage. And other things are just based on whatever, you know, tactical powers I have enabled and specializations and all that. Lone Wolf, part of specializations, and all that. Okay, so let's look real quick at what my weapon damage is at right now. You can see 3,475 phaser damage on my Andorian dual phaser cannons, 2316 DPS. The Quantum one is doing 32 phaser damage and 21 DPS there, and then this one is doing 2,000 DPS and 25 phaser. So out of all of them, the dual beam bank is actually doing the least amount of damage. However, it should hit the target more than the cannons do, so that's kind of the theory there. The torpedo is doing 7377 kinetic damage, 737 DPS. My turrets in the back are doing 883 phaser damage and 1177 DPS. Now let's look at again what these were: 34 phaser, 22 DPS, and then this is 27 phaser damage. So let's see what happens when I buff all my stuff. Bam, bam, bam. And you will see, of course, bam. And you will see that I am now at like 45, 54 DPS. Huge amount of DPS. The thing's at 55 phaser damage. So all that really boosts my weapon damage quite a bit. 6409 and then 42 DPS there. So yeah, it's just a ton of damage when everything is buffed. Just a ton of damage. I'm going to let the timers cool down before I go into combat, but yeah, I mean, this thing is packed to the gill. I guess the first thing to show you is, of course, we're going to do all the normal stuff. Like, I'm going to do an ISA run. I'm going, maybe, yeah, I guess I will. No reason not to. And all that stuff. But I think I'm going to change the format up a little because I am being moved right now to just go ahead and go into a patrol and show you some of these features I've been talking about, and then we'll kind of end the whole thing with like an ISA run or some kind of run or something different. So let us go to Argala actually, so I can demonstrate these things to you guys. Delta Quadrant, Transwarp. And I will use the features of the ship and we'll see how it all looks and works in combat. So you can see what the features of the ship actually do. There we go. And since the Crystalline Entity event is going on now, I may run that, or I may run the Nakul thing. That's also kind of long, though, but may do that. We'll see what happens here. We don't always have to do the same STFs every single time. We can do different things. So I'm in combat, but that potentiality thing, I'm just not really sure how it works. I guess if I don't use bridge officer abilities, it builds up potentiality. So I've never tried that before, so I'm going to try it. But what do I have to do? Just not use any bridge officer abilities? Does that mean I can fire on the enemy?
Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
So many things are flying by, I don't know which one. There it is. Yeah, okay, I'm gaining potentiality. I mean, they die so fast anyway.
Target's shields have failed.
Maybe that's what that shield effect is. I mean, no bridge officer abilities used there. I didn't do that. I didn't buff anything. I didn't buff my energy weapon damage. I did nothing. And I'm still taking out the enemy that easy. That's buffing nothing. So I guess that's how the potentiality works. But who, honestly, is going to go into battle and not use the bridge officer abilities? That's just silly to me. That's just absolutely silliness. Let me go ahead and use... buff up my power. Here's the timeline analysis.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
And see, it's not really doing damage to the person, though. It's taking them, like, out of phase, but it's not really doing damage.
Target's shields have failed.
Now, I can do a lot of damage once that's in effect. That's cool. So there it was, anyway. I don't know what else to say about that. Here's the destabilizing beam. Well, they died real fast.
Target's shields have failed.
I mean, I don't even have to use bridge officer abilities. You guys see how easy it is. Not even using bridge officer abilities. That just shows you how much damage I'm actually doing. Look at that. Just a few shots and I got him dead. Got him dead! That's right, I said got him dead.
Target's shields have failed.
I don't even have to do anything. Well, anyway, let us use some bridge officer powers, and let me just show you what I want to do here. Everything goes kaplowy. Kaplowy.
Target's shields have failed.
I wanted to use the stabilizing beam, but we're up too fast.
Target's shields have failed.
Yeah, that's cool. Everybody's gone.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed. 4 shields failing. Rear shields failing. Target's shields have failed.
And done. I mean, geez. It's got so many things down here going on. And I really don't have any other starship traits. Yeah, just those two, so nothing else special there. And normally it's even better because I have other starship traits enabled. So with those other starship traits I had enabled that you saw at the very beginning before I did this, I mean, I was even more powerful than I am now. And you can see how powerful I am now, and I don't even have those things on. Let's do something that's maybe a little more intense, shall we? Let me see. Let me queue up for. I'm just gonna do a Pug CCA crystalline thingy event, whatever. Sometimes these pugs go well. Sometimes they go terribly. We'll see. At any rate, I know I'm gonna be doing a lot of damage. So I don't know about the rest of everybody. Sometimes, like I said, it can be terrible. So we're just gonna wait. We're gonna see what happens. If this goes totally bat crazy, I'm gonna cut it out of the video, or I'll just cut it out in my editing if this just doesn't turn out right. But if this goes okay, I will keep it in. I know at least I'll be doing well. This kind of will give you an idea against something powerful like the crystalline entity. I like to cloak going in so that everything doesn't see me. Use that activatable one there. Okay, here we go.
Warning, ship is under attack.
Oh, my frame rate is dying. That normally happens to me. Absorbing. I'm going to pull away because I never... Sometimes I can survive it okay, sometimes I can't. So I'm just going to pull away while it's absorbing. I just don't want to take the chance. And I can go back in.
Warning, ship is under
Okay,
attack.
here goes the timeline analysis on the crystalline entity. That's right, we're doing a timeline analysis on Ace. We'll start absorbing here in a second. There it goes. I'm going to keep firing. There we go, out of the way. No problemo. Swing back around. And finish it off.
Four shields failing.
Okay, I got too close. I got a little too close there.
Safety below 25%.
Third place. So there you go. That is crystalline entity. I got a little too close there at the end, but a little too confident. But anyway, I'm able to do this event quite well with this ship. Do a lot of damage. Just a ton of damage. Kill that thing fast. I love that. Well, it's doing a cool thing. I mean, it's a thing. It's a going thing right now, and I know those ships. This will be a good test. So yeah, let's do it. Take me to Nakul. Now again, these Nakul things can go well or bad. Actually, I may not even be able to get into one. Sometimes we can't even get into these queues because people aren't actually playing them right now. I wonder how many people are playing them. Oh, good. Maybe we'll get right in. Again, I'm just going to pug this, so no promises here. This could go terribly, not because of me, but other people. Should get a call here any second. There's 6 queued, 5 in a team. Yep, there we go. Again, pugging this, so it could go bad, could go good. I don't know. But the Nakul can do a lot of damage. They've got a devastating weapon, so I gotta watch out for that. But otherwise, I'm gonna do a lot of damage. You'll see. You'll see. You will all see. Mwahahaha. Gotta wait for the thingy here. Let's do this. Hi, team. Good luck. Murder well. Blood for all. So here we go. I guess no potentiality stacks until I go into combat. So that's a thing. At least everybody's here. Hopefully nobody will play hooky and be an AFKer, because I hate that. Happens a lot in pugs. There's my Krenim ship. And we are ready to kill some Nikul.
This is Commander Jacob Trask of the Beowulf. My convoy's under attack. We're not military. We won't let it go. Help!
Target shields have failed.
How cool is that, guys? Just ripping through everything. One hit and they're dead.
Target shields have failed.
Wow. This is good. It's very good. Who's next?
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target shields have failed.
Went to war. You're safe.
Hate that immunity shield, but I think I can get around it with my time beam thing.
Target shields have failed. Right shields failing. Hull integrity below 75%.
Convoy's been split up by the Nikul. Help us!
How cool is that? Okay, let's go over here now.
Under attack. Target shields have failed.
Everybody's dying.
Core shields failing. Target shields have failed. Rear shields failing. Right shields failing. Left shields failing. Hull integrity below 75%.
Five of my ships have walked to safety, thanks to you.
Okay, cool. Next. Next, please.
Warning, ship is under attack. Target shield has failed.
This is Acting Convoy Commander.
Did it. I think we finished. We did. We finished. Let's see. What do I want? What do I want? I will take... I don't know what I'll take. What am I working on here? Maybe I could use some Terran marks. Sure, why not? Anyway. Wow, guys. There you go. I don't know what else to say. I'm like, ugh. That's like... If that doesn't show you how powerful this ship is, I don't know what else does. But, like, wow.
This is Acting Convoy.
I am impressed. And it kind of goes like that. Every time I get into a thing and do stuff, I am able to kill the enemy very fast with a lot of AoE. Like, I like to go in with my cannon spread and my torpedoes spread and take out a lot of enemies at once. And if I buff up everything and then go do that in a patrol, it does that. It'll do that. Let's go back to the beta quadrant, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm also going to keep an eye out for any ISAs that come. If there's an ISA, I'll do it, but otherwise, I don't really think I need to do one because I think you kind of get the point by now. Let me run into Chipori, and I'll show you guys what I mean by doing like a AoE attack on everything and just annihilating everything in one shot. I need this to come back online. I need Tactical Fleet, but it's not. It's going to be 4 minutes, and I don't want to wait, so I'll just do it without Tactical Fleet. Normally, I would enable Tactical Fleet because that gives you an all damage as well, but I don't want to wait 3 minutes for it to cool down. Chipori. A good testing place for things. So the way I like to go in is go bang, 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 and kind of take everything out.
Target shield has failed.
Like normally, like, you know, hit everything, then it works.
Target shield has
Like
failed.
that. If I can get my torpedoes to fire on everything, hit everything, then it works pretty well. Hardest part part is just being in the right firing arc for my cannons. Really. If I'm behind an enemy or something like that, side of it. I need to stay in front of them, which actually is kind of hard to do because I move so fast. But you can see that just annihilate everything.
Target shields have failed.
Congratulations, Admiral.
Hey, I did a thing.
Target shields have failed.
Look at everything blow up. That's that one hit I'm talking about. When everything hits like that at the same time, that right there, my friends, is it. When everything hits at the right time and you got everything buffed up properly, everything blows up and dies at once. That is the best shot I could possibly show you in this whole thing. And I think I'm going to leave it there because that's like the best ending I could have right there. Perfect. Perfect ending. I haven't seen any ices come up here in the chat, but if they do, I'll add one. I'm going to go ahead and, you know, kind of call it on this video, but if I see any, I will add one and make that the end. But otherwise, if none come up and all that, I'm probably not even going to do an ISA now because I've done so much here that I think you guys get the idea. You've seen how powerful this is. You've seen what it's capable of. I am getting 45k when I last parsed it, and that was actually a while ago. It might even be higher now. And there's still room for improvement because things are definitely not perfect. By the way, if you're curious about my skill build real quick, go see the tactical video that I showed you guys. The tactical build guide for skill setup. And it's the same. You can see basically I've got 25 in TAC, 4 in science, 17 in engineering. Those are the skills. And it is allowing me to do a lot of damage. Yes, a lot of damage. Basically almost all of tactical is maxed out. And what can I say? It's a powerful ship. This is probably, other than the Avenger, this is probably my most favorite tactical ship or escorty type ship yet to date. Number one, it can take a whipping. It's not a glass cannon. It doesn't blow up as easy as some other escorts. It can take a little bit of damage, especially when you buff it correctly. Number two, very powerful on weaponry layout. It's got, you know, 5 forward weapon slots, and then it's got 5 tactical slots. So you can make this a powerful weapon beast with DPS in mind. Number two, it is a little slow turning at start, but you can buff that very well. And as you guys saw, I buffed it very, very well. It turns like a dream now, absolutely a dream, if you buff it correctly. And it's very flexible in bridge officer seating, supporting both intelligence and pilot bridge officer seating with a universal pilot slot. So it's not just a pilot or something else, it's a universal, so you can put a science, a tech, an engineer, or a pilot in that spot. So that makes its bridge officer seating extremely flexible to anybody out there. Now, the potentiality thing, not really noticing a big benefit with that, mainly because I use bridge officer powers, and I think it benefits mostly when you don't use bridge officer powers. And I think it's that shield thing we kept seeing, but I'm not sure. If that's true, and it's the that's how it works, then it is not that useful to me because I like to use my bridge officer powers. Now, the timeline thing that it has, this timeline ability, that is very useful. Timeline analysis. I am finding that to be very useful. So I actually like that ability. It is an offensive ability, not a defensive ability. That is very good. So I do enjoy it for that. Not quite sure I would purchase the ship just for its starship trait, however, the 5th mastery trait. Not sure I would spend that kind of money on this ship just to have that trait. It's not a killer trait in my mind, mainly because a lot of people are going to use their hotbar buttons or bridge officer powers and all that stuff when they go into battle. So it's probably not extremely useful for a lot of people. Otherwise, though, the ship itself is. The ship itself is fun. I enjoy this ship very much. Like I said, it's right up there with my most favorite ship of all time as a tactical officer. I think this might even replace it right now because this is just an awesome ship. I've had the most fun with this ship yet in any ship. Definitely with this one. I've had the most fun with it, and I can do the most damage with it in game. So I'm really, really happy about it. Yes, I'm getting very emotional. Well, guys, that's a very lengthy review of this ship. I don't know what else to say or what else to do. I've done all that I can do here, so I think I've given it its due time, its due justice. Hopefully, I've given it a proper review. Hopefully, you guys will gain something from this. If you fly this ship, let us know what you think of it and how well you use it. If you don't use it, let us know why. If you're going to use it in the future, let us know. I'm interested in all that feedback. Well, there you go, everybody. Krenim Imperium Warship Tier 6 at the end of this. The end. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.